Welcome to episode 46. Today is November the 8th, and we are facing you this time.
I'm Gus.
And
this is awkward.
Yep. The first time doing this, somebody requested, so... We're going to throw some comments around and ask people to tell us if this is the way or if the other way was the way. But at least this way we're talking to you now instead of each other, which is what we were supposed to be doing, is talking to each other. But that's fine.
I can keep looking over this way while we give you the nightly news.
Yeah. All right.
That would have been funny. Anyways.
What? Yeah. Okay. The new way we're doing this now, instead of popping a bottle episode, is I have a lot of opened whiskey. So I've gone through, I bought like a 50 pack of these, the little mini bottle things.
Yeah.
And I just pour stuff in there so they have a number related to them. And yeah. So it's like, we have no idea what we're drinking because there was a ton of them. So we just grabbed two, and I forgot glasses. So we're going to have to split these between
little bottles.
Yeah. So we're going to be drinking out of little mini bottles this whole episode.
It's fine.
Which is fun. As you can tell, my sobriety didn't last long.
Long enough. Sobriety, you can just be...
I made it 7 days, and then Halloween happened.
Yeah, Halloween does that. You could always just, I don't know, drink less.
I do drink. I don't drink that much.
No, I mean, you were going... Never mind.
Okay.
You were doing a dry month.
Yeah. We're doing a dry month in January for sure. Plan on it.
All right.
Plan on it. Well, I don't know, because there's duck hunting in January. It may be tough. Is there really ever a right time to do a dry month?
Just whenever you can stick to your guns. I don't know when that is. By you, I mean as people, as like, not you.
When could you stick to your guns?
Whenever.
You could take a month off whenever?
Yeah. I could.
Yeah, I guess I could too.
You just have to want to do it.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want to do it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So we want you to know that if you need any kind of firearm or firearm accessories, that you can go to shop.gmarmory.com and visit our friends at Gun Monkeys and use code whiskey and save $30 on anything you buy. Anything. And guns are a lot like TVs. Like, we both worked in the electronics world.
Yeah.
Not a lot of markup on this. So
no.
Getting any money off is pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Gun shops make their money on accessories and ammo, I think. I don't know about the ammo part.
Yeah, the ammo's hard to...
Yeah.
I bet you gun shops don't, like...
I don't know, it's probably like gas stations don't make money on gas.
Yeah. They want you to buy candy bars and Monster Energy drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other friend that you should check out is Dom Gatto, domgattophoto.com. He's also, actually, both Dom Gatto... Well, I guess... Is he part owner?
Part owner of what?
Is Josh part owner of Gun Monkeys?
I actually don't know.
I don't know either, but, well, for this instance, he is.
Super involved.
Yeah, super involved. He's definitely there a lot. Both of these fine gentlemen are also members of our Patreon. That's
right.
How much they support us. But domgattophoto.com, you use code WHISKEY to save 20% off, which is a large amount for saving money on
art, photography. Yeah.
And he just got back. He's got some killer photos he just took in Georgia. So
yeah.
He's got some cool stuff up on there.
The stuff that he showed, the whole time he was showing stuff, I was like, what's he not showing?
Yeah. He sent me a couple and was like, these are going to be bangers.
Nice.
And lastly, thanks to Black Rifle Coffee for sending us a care package. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's a hat in there that I forgot. Otherwise, I'd probably wear it.
Some shirts for my kids.
Yep. Kids wear mediums?
Because they're not going to fit my fat ass.
Yeah, I can't wear a medium. I had this theory that, because when I knew it was coming, I was like, I wonder if they're going to ship stuff for us, or if they're just going to be like, we can't sell this shit, so here.
That's probably what it was.
The hat's nice, though. I like
Thanks.
The hat. Yep, appreciate it. We like getting stuff. That's fun. It's exciting. So we have 2 whitetail topics?
Yeah, 2. They're kind of related, so we'll do one, and then it'll sort of segue into the other. I thought they were... One I promised because we did the early season strategies earlier this year, and then the second one is just sort of a follow-on to one of the topics I'll talk about during the strategies.
I noticed last time editing this that I can't stop touching this pen, so I'm going to put the pen down now.
Okay.
Because the whole time I was like,
Then I'll put mine down also since I'm not writing anything else.
Yeah. You don't need to hold a pen if you're not writing.
News anchors do. They hold pens.
Oh, yeah. We're news anchors today.
They have their iPads so they can get notes from the producer. Okay.
You guys tell us which way you like, this way or the old way.
It feels super weird.
It
but
does, man. It's like
if you guys like it, we'll do it for you.
Does it feel like we're talking to you this time? Before we wanted to be like CIA stuff where you were snooping on our conversations.
We wanted you to feel like you were just the third person in the room hanging out with us.
Yeah, yeah. But if you'd rather be talked to like a little child, someone sit down in your chair right there and listen to me.
Someone suggested we were far away and that we should face the camera. So
we might still be far away. I didn't even think to look at that.
We're going to try it out.
I think we're about the same distance from the camera as we were before. Anyway, let's try these. Let's see what these are. It's going to be fun to drink out of these little tiny bottles. I guess I don't need
Can't
lids.
wait.
So I'll take these two. I guess we'll just see which one we like better. I don't know. It's our first time doing this.
Gotta get something on this table.
Yeah. We have something. I just left it.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right. The one that was halfway empty.
Can't really smell. Shove it in my nose.
Or not
like that.
I might smell both.
I don't know.
Okay.
You having fun over there?
I am. Oh, we also wanted to mention Patreon.
I don't know which one I have. We probably don't have the same one. Oh, well.
I think one is almost empty. Put that one on your right. Damn, I hooked you up.
What? Yeah,
they're even like similar color. It's okay. They're numbered on the bottom, so we'll be all right.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Patreon.com/whitetails. We have a whistle pig, pretty expensive bottle that we're gonna be giving away in the Patreon. We also have hoodies and hats on the way, and we didn't make a lot.
No,
it's only we made a lot of hats, but we haven't made the hats yet in full transparency.
We're narrowing it down to 2 different places, suppliers, business stuff. But we had
the first one of you to reach out because they're not listening, but the first one that reaches out and says, "Hey, we'll go with you."
Yeah, true. So we got asked a bunch of times when we were at the Snipers Unknown challenge last weekend, right? Was it last weekend before last, about where to get hats. And then we were like, oh, maybe it's a thing. Like, no one's really asked about them that much. And then this past weekend at the market, we got asked no less than 5 times where people can get a hat.
In a row.
Yeah, it was like the next person that came up said, well, how about the hat?
Yeah.
Can't.
You've seen it where our black hat, we have a Whiskey and Whitetails black, or a Whiskey and Whitetails leather patch on a black hat.
Yeah.
That Gus made. And because we only had 3.
Yeah, I made them as Christmas gifts. Like last year, it was just kind of a cool thing for 3 of us, and
they're like $40 a piece.
Yeah, because I didn't do a bulk order.
Yeah.
It was just that was all I ordered. So you have to order at least like 100 to get some sort of decent pricing on them.
Because we asked people too. I was like, well, if you're interested, how much would you pay for them? And they were like, no more than $30.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, yeah,
so in order to get to that price range and be able to cover shipping and other things, we have to order a pretty substantial amount. So we're just going through the wickets and making sure that we're not we're getting ourselves the best deal and best quality for you guys. So,
but the hoodies are on the way, and those will open to Patreon members first, and then whatever's left we'll put in the store. And I think that's how we're going to do everything from now on, other than like our smoker blocks and bourbon barrel stuff. All the normal stuff is going to be
we did the apparel thing once before. We'll maybe get into that another time. If we do any kind of apparel, hats, hoodies, whatever, it's going to be extremely limited runs, and you better get them while they're available because that's probably going to be it. He and I think both refuse to get stuck with hundreds of pieces of apparel at the cost of thousands of dollars. So
yeah, we not to get in it deeply, but we bought in so much bulk through another company we had. We bought in so much bulk because we wanted to get the prices down really cheap so that there was an actual
profit
revenue.
Margin. It was a business.
Yeah. And because we bought so many to get to that price range, it overflowed. It consumed bedrooms and garage space. And
it's pretty ridiculous thinking back on it.
Yes. But we were all in. We were like, hey, we're going to be the next. Because we got the same shirts. What we also learned, if you want to do an apparel company, go cheap. Because we got quality shirts, like the nicest shit you could buy.
Really nice stuff.
Nicer than what, I mean, it was the same quality of stuff that was selling for $60 at a local store called Charleston Angler. Same kind of shirts as that, like the boat shirts.
Yep, the UV protection,
There you go.
the UVP or UPV 50 protection and all that stuff. And we went with a company that makes their T-shirts were made out of from recycled plastic bottles. And, you know, we had this great quality, you know, baseline to provide customers. And at the end of the day, people really don't care that much.
No, they don't give a shit.
They want a name brand or they want it cheap. And so we were establishing our brand, so we didn't have that brand awareness yet, and we could have just gone cheap and sold them cheap and probably sold them a lot easier.
Which we learned, believe it or not, at a convention. We were out there. We had bought in bulk again these Penn Battle 3s, like the 600-pound reels.
Yeah,
they're not cheap. How much are they? Like $260 or something?
I forget.
So they were expensive, but we had gotten them cheap enough that we were going to do raffles, and each one was raffle or something like that. But it was only going to be up to cost, which cost was $80 on these, and so nobody wanted to do it. So we ended up just trying to sell them for $80, and people, one after the other, people would come by and be like, "Why would I spend $80 on that when I spent $10 on these 5 reels?"
Yeah, well, so
and we're like, "What?"
What we learned was that there were 2 or 3 big vendor areas. I don't know why we're getting on this tangent, but
no, it's fine.
There was a huge area, like
a Coliseum,
massive, like Coliseum type area with hundreds of vendors. And then we we joined late. We got into the convention late, so we were in another building off to the side that was really more like
literally the last spot you could ever get to.
But that building was more things like outdoor wildlife and art and things for your home, and people were selling like gutter services and things like that, and we just that was
remember
a spot
the guy that wore the lab coat and pretended he was a doctor. He was
he was like doing chiropractic stuff.
He was like, where do you hurt
fixing
today?
People's feet. He was doing stuff for your feet. That's what he was doing.
He was putting like magnetic strips on your feet to pull poisons out.
So that's the building we got put into. What we figured out after taking a break and going and walking around was that in the big building there were these like discount angler companies that had huge bins of reels for like $5 a piece, and these things were cheap knockoffs from Japan, but China. But the people that came to this convention were all about some deals, and by the time they got to us, they had blown their wad, so to speak.
Yeah, they had spent their $60 they showed up with.
People were like, someone that was there was like, you know, like people save up for weeks to come to this,
to buy
the tickets
ticket.
were $15 a piece.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, different demographic than we thought.
Yeah, it was not.
It was still fun. We learned a lot. It was
not a place to sell premium quality shirts for sure.
Premium.
Yeah, they were nice. So we say all that to say we're not buying a bunch of stuff anymore.
Yeah, not interested in it.
Oh, and the hoodies, I only brought large and extra large. If you're smaller than a large or bigger than an extra large, hit me up and we'll work on it next batch.
Yeah,
but I'm not buying 30 smalls, 30 medium. I'm not doing that.
Nope.
Because we've done it before, and we're just not going to do it. What do you think about these? One of these, this one I really like.
This one is really spicy. This one reminds me of a. It's not spicy in terms of proof. I don't think. I think it's heavy on rye, but it's good. Yeah. It's really good. I got a feeling I'm gonna pick one of these and be like, I would never have picked that. You know, like if you put a bunch of bottles in front of me and you're like, hey, pick something to drink, it'll be something I probably would never pick.
Well, there's a good mix of things I like and don't like. I literally was just trying to get rid of some stuff. I mean, obviously you're not getting rid of stuff with these tiny bottles, but it's all open. I didn't open anything, so it's all stuff we've had or I've definitely had. You writing notes?
Well, I'm just trying to remember which one I like.
Yeah, I think I like this one.
I'll keep one on the right and one on the left.
Okay. So, all right.
What do we have to talk about today? You have we have some updates on the whole Heaven Hill thing, right?
Yeah, I was going to do the Heaven Hill thing first, and then we'll get into the hunting stuff. Cool. Actually, or do you want to do a hunting and then Heaven Hill and then hunting?
No, because the second one, they segue nicely into one another.
All right. So we're going to do this in 10 minutes or less. Okay. All right. So Heaven Hill, if you didn't know, if you live on a rock, sometime around the beginning of September, I think it was around September 11th, something like that, they went on strike over a ton of stuff, and we've done 2 videos on it now. You can link here and then give it 5 seconds for the link, and then link here for the second one. you can go watch those and get it. So what I'm going to talk about now is now that they have come to a conclusion, we're going to talk about the conclusion and kind of some things that I've been told, or we've been told, or whatever. So the Heaven Hill contract was voted on and passed, and from what we can understand and what we've been told, and we've reached out to people that commented before, people that sent us an email, and then we know a couple people in the industry that we've reached out to. So basically, I've been asking to get the contract. I wanted to read it. I wanted to see exactly how it was worded. I want to see all this stuff, and nobody was willing to give it to us. And then the guy that we know in the industry, he works with a guy whose dad is there, and his dad was like, "Son, it's none of your business how much I make." So with that in mind, we're not going to discuss dollar amounts,
right? Any
of that stuff. So it's nobody's business. This is a private contract. However, I did end up getting it, and I won't say how. I hacked Heaven Hill's website. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that.
That's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. I don't have time to hack anything. All right, so these were the main points. So there was no changes to the healthcare plan. There was a up to $2.95 per hour wage increase, which is one of the big things they were arguing about. Not arguing about, asking for.
Up to, meaning?
Up to, which means they could give them a quarter, but still. There is actually pay scales in there. And again, I didn't really,
okay,
because I knew I wasn't going to talk about them, I didn't really look at them that deep. So they did the elimination of the 2-tier wage scale. And this is one of the things that I wanted clarity on, but because nobody really wanted to talk about it, I don't. But the actual, just to read it, it's one of these 3 things. Okay, so a 2-tier wage system. The employer wishes to better compensate more senior. I don't know that word. What is that?
Ostensibly.
What does that mean?
Ostensibly more experience, like
more productive workers. We'll just skip it. Why would they put that in there? All right. The employer wishes to better compensate more experienced and productive workers without increasing overall wage costs, or the employer wishes to have a pay for performance or merit pay wage scheme that compensates more productive employees without increasing overall wage costs, or the employer wishes to reduce overall wage costs by hiring new employees at a wage less than the wage of incumbent workers, meaning you don't get paid the same as someone else. So one of those 3 things, but one thing I did read in the contract, and I don't know enough about it to really understand what it means, but it says it was in the regards of specialists. So the barrel warehouse specialist, dump room specialist, they changed the pay in relation to the 2-tier wage scale. So I don't know if it was you get paid by how many barrels you dump, or you get, I don't know. Nobody would answer me, so maybe it'll be in the comments. You can go check it out. The next thing was, it did say in there that senior workers won't be better compensated, so that has something to do with it.
Won't be?
Yeah. But they also do the wage increase. Year 1, 3%, year 2, 2.5%, and then the next year's is 2%. So clearly the longer you've been there, the more increase of pay.
But it sounds like maybe you taper off.
I'm thinking there's a cap.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wish somebody would have answered. Anyway, increased vacation benefits, which is good. The increased paid holidays, they went from 9 paid days off to 11.
Okay.
So that's a pretty good bump. And people usually look at paid days off, but you realize someone's paying for that, which is the employer.
Sure.
So that is a type of increase in pay. So 401k match from 7 to 8%, which is crazy. I think mine is 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's hefty.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Well, a lot of them, and like I know a lot of your corporate employers in the industry we're familiar with, they'll do that 5% up to a smaller percent of your overall.
Yeah,
like it always looks good, and then you're like, oh, actually, you're kind of fucking me here.
Yeah, ours is. I think ours is vested too. So we get 5% match, and then it's like 2 years before you even get that.
It's 2 years for a lot of places.
Some companies don't. Some
don't. Yep.
But anyway, I think that's pretty good. Up to 8%, you should definitely be taking advantage of that. Increased sickness and accident benefits and life insurance benefits. So it looks like, and those are just the big red things at the beginning. If you've seen your own contract at the very top, those are just the big red changes that were made since the original vote in which they started the strike.
So this is the contract they've agreed upon?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the most recent addended, modified one.
And is it still need to be voted on, or like where do you know where they're at in that?
According to the news, it's been voted on and ratified. And
so are these guys back to work then?
That's what it's saying.
Cool.
I mean, I would assume.
So can I start buying Heaven Hill stuff again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I guess so too.
I mean, in honesty, the Heaven Hill thing, the we not buying, I think it was like we don't want to put it on the shelves. But as far as buying it, I mean, it was the people on strike that made it, or that's the other facility.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, it also could be the other facility.
And also, you're supporting a local liquor store, not necessarily Heaven Hill, which is actually a distributor. Yeah, we're
kind of already been
paid
for. Yeah,
it's already been paid for. It's already been bought. So we're 3 tiers below.
Complicated, folks. It's complicated.
Yeah. So even though like we stand with the people on strike, and I said in the first episode that it typically doesn't go well for the striking portion, it's usually the bigger dog wins. But it looks to me, I don't know if you guys are super happy. I'm sure nobody's ever 100% happy, but these are some good increases, I think. But who am I? You know, it's more of an increase than I got this year. Yeah,
that's true.
Nobody gave. I didn't get any pay increase.
With inflation, they said, I read somewhere that with inflation, if you didn't get a pay increase of 5 point something % this year, you actually got a pay cut.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, I did not get any pay increase this year.
None whatsoever?
None.
Same.
I was going to say, you did? Because I didn't get that. There's definitely a 2-tier wage scale at my work. Senior workers are definitely better compensated. I did not get an increase in vacation benefits. I still have the same amount. I still have the same amount of holidays. My 401k match is 3% now less than yours. Just saying, it's all relative. Kind of look at it in a different light.
True. Well, interesting. I'm glad they came to some sort of resolution. Hopefully, folks are. The one thing that really bugged me about the whole thing was this whole time people, I guess, not having health insurance.
Yeah,
that was pretty crappy. So I'm glad they.
And that was the other thing too, is we said in the last video, we said something about them removing health insurance, and then we kind of were like, but you're not working there, so why do you have health insurance? Yeah. Someone made in the comments, and again, I don't know if this is true. It's just something in the comments. They said that they had already paid for that month's health insurance.
Right.
So then, like in the beginning of the month, they had paid for the month of coverage. And
I see. Yeah.
I want to say it was the 11th or somewhere around there.
Interesting.
And then they took it away, so they lost their health insurance for the month.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, glad it's over.
I don't know. You can go fact check everything we said in the comments, because these fine people are very good at adding and correcting and making sure we're straight.
Keeping it straight, yeah.
And we appreciate all the feedback you guys gave us through these. This is the 3rd episode now.
Yeah, folks have been very nice about reaching out, understandably asking for some.
It was crickets after y'all signed them. Nobody said it.
Yeah, well, people were, understandably wanting us to be a little careful about mentioning names or
we would never mention names,
which we were fine with.
And the story I told about the guy that works with somebody, made that up. It's a true story about what he said, but it's not.
Smoke and mirrors, folks.
Yeah.
Because
now everybody's like, who's the guy that works with the guy?
Yeah, now that we're facing you like the news anchors, we're going to start treating this like the news, and we're just going to make shit up.
Stop it.
And then we're okay. Tell me to stop it. I do what I want.
I can't figure out what to do with this thing.
Yeah, it's really weird like this. I've had it on this side for
because I feel like if I turn my head, then I got to come back to it, and then I got to put it in front of me, and then I got to sit
this way, and then I'm watching the noise levels, and they're right next to each other, so we're picking up each other's, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to edit because it's going to.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
See, it's picking up depending on how we talk, and if I face you, your microphone picks it. You're going to block it. Anyways, there's only one way to fix it, and it costs about $1,000. So
we should get a COVID.
Put a plexiglass thing?
COVID so that way you don't give me COVID.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we have for Evan now. Next.
All right.
All right, before we go to that, did you pick? Because I want to know what these are.
Yeah, I did. I haven't even finished this one, and I already like the other one better.
Which one is that? That was number 1? Yeah. Okay, so I like the same one you like.
Okay. Big surprise there.
The other one I don't think I like at all.
What is the other one?
I don't know yet.
What?
Number 2, the one we don't like is Waddy Boone.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. And then the one that we do like, that's why I was pulling it up for you to see.
Okay.
And then the one we do like is the rye, the Sazerac, the baby Saz.
Oh, okay. Did not expect that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So baby Saz won this episode of What Are We Drinking? I might mix them together. No, I don't want to ruin it. Okay, where are we going? Well,
we're going to talk about the best time of the year for hunting whitetails, and that is the rut. It's November, early November. If the rut has not already kicked off wherever it is you're hunting, it will be very soon. And so we have some things to talk about with regards to strategies and how you approach the whitetail woods this time of year, and what you can do to increase your likelihood of success.
okay.
So, what do you know about the whitetail rut, Matthew?
I know that it's when the does get basically chased all over town and then held down and violently sexually assaulted in order to procreate more animals. And these poor does just run around. That's why people get so angry when you kill does during rut, because they're just running, trying to escape the ever.
It did not go where I thought it was going to go. So, the rut is whenever your bucks are chasing and very active, seeking breeding does, right?
That's basically what I just said.
Yeah, but you said it way more violently. And
I mean, it is a violent thing.
It's fine. But it's also a great time to take advantage of the bucks and their ridiculous behavior to get that buck you're after, or just get some meat in the freezer. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do to help make that happen.
And for those that don't hunt, they're just here for the whiskey part. When you see the uptick of, deer everywhere out here at night and people are hitting them and stuff, that's the rut.
Yeah, you see more deer
because they don't
dead
give
on the
a
side
shit.
of the road. That's because they are out of their mind doing things they normally would not do. So the first thing you can do is sort of an obvious thing, but that's to hunt fresh sign. Now that's pretty much the case any time of the year. If you can find fresh sign of where deer are, that's where you want to hunt. But particularly during the rut, you want to look for scrapes that are active that have licking branches. And a licking branch is just an overhanging branch over the scrape that deer will use to help leave scent. Particularly bucks, they use the licking branch far more than the does do. With that being said, we'll touch a little bit more on scrapes later in this episode. I have a whole bunch of stuff about that. But so look for fresh sign, look for active scrapes, particularly with a licking branch, because bucks use licking branches more than does do, and that's a good sign, a good way to look for an active area where there's a buck. Get comfortable. Get comfortable. There are I don't edit those out, so it's your problem, not mine.
I know, but it takes so much longer.
Don't edit them. Get comfortable. You're going to be in the tree stand for a while. Things happen during the rut that don't happen any other time of the year. Like we mentioned earlier, bucks are out of their mind with their hormones are crazy. They're running all over the place, all times of year or all times of the day. So get comfortable, prepare to sit for a long time, and wait for things to happen, because they happen unexpectedly, out of nowhere, all times of the day.
Yeah, unplanned.
It's not like other times of the year where you can kind of predict that, the buck's and deer gonna come to the field, right around daybreak or as the sun is setting. Does are getting chased all over the woods, and bucks are cruising all over the place trying to catch a scent or following scent of breeding doe. So get comfortable, prepare to sit for a while, bring a book, bring some snacks, make sure you're prepared to be there for a while. Ooh. There you go. You've been practicing.
And you can, that's when, like when you see people rattling for bucks and calling for bucks and making noise, now's the time of the year that works, because they're not thinking much other than the 3 Fs.
So that actually brings up, that's a good segue to another point that I had further down here, which is be vocal. This time of the year is better than probably any time to use a call and to be vocal or to rattle, whether you use shed antlers or you use some of those plastic rattling.
Yeah, that's what
things.
I have, the rattle bag.
Yeah, rattle bag. You can use any of those, but deer are, like I said, cruising for bucks. They're
cruising for does.
They're cruising for does and on the lookout for bucks because they're being very competitive. They're competing for territory. They're competing for does. So if you get a dominant buck and you rattle and you make it appear as though there's a fight going on over some does, a dominant buck may be like, oh yeah, not in my house.
He may just want to come look too.
Yeah, and they're social creatures, so it may just bring in deer out of curiosity.
They're nosy as shit.
Yeah, use calls. Don't be shy about it, especially if you see deer, you see a buck chasing does. You can oftentimes call a buck off of a hot doe if you can mimic a more mature buck or a mating doe bleat. Is useful for that. So be vocal. Also use scents. This is the time of the year. Bucks are all over the place looking for scent, following scent. So use whatever your favorite scent is for doe and heat or estrus, whatever the brand calls it, to use it. You should have created mock scrapes earlier in the year, but it's still an okay time to put that kind of scent out and try to get bucks coming to those things. So use scents. Hunt does, obviously, that's what the bucks are after. So if you know where the does are, there's a good chance that's where bucks are going to be. If you have and you can pinpoint through cameras or just knowing your property, specifically doe bedding areas, you want to hunt on the downwind side of that because bucks will cruise areas that they and try to find the downwind, try to find themselves downwind of does to locate their scent. And if you know that there's a doe bedding area, you can position yourself downwind of that area. You can intercept bucks trying to work their way into those bedding areas. So look for does, look for those downwind side of doe bedding areas if you can identify those.
Do you make any doe bleats this time of the year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will. So I called the buck once off of a doe that he was chasing the doe, and I used a combination that I had seen on YouTube where I used a grunt, like a really deep, long grunt, which is supposed to be a mating buck, and alternated one of those Primos doe bleat cans to simulate a buck and doe kind of mixing it up, whether they were just chasing or actually doing the dirty. It was enough to get this. It wasn't a super mature buck, but it was a buck who was out of his mind with what was going on in the rut enough to stop chasing that doe and come in my direction. So it was pretty cool. You can do a lot with sounds and both doe and buck calls.
I just very rarely use any of it. It's I do use our grunt tube, but even then I'm not super pushy with it.
It's also hard a little bit in our
just where we hunt.
We hunt, it's very thick, so sometimes it's hard to see. So you're doing it blind a lot of times.
Yeah.
So
up in Appalachia, I'll rattle.
That's a good spot. It's a little more open, and you can that sound will carry down, especially when you're in the mountains, using those the terrain, to your advantage. So
I'm also looking forward to kind of some of these leaves falling off, so that we can really see stuff
and hear. I can't tell you how many times during this time of year you hear things coming before, because a doe will be 30 yards ahead of a buck, jumping and running, kind of trying to stay ahead, and then that buck will come cruising behind, grunting and taking its time. They're tired because they're running all day long. Bucks will lose, I forget what percentage of their body fat during the rut, but it's a lot. You can tell the health of a whitetail by the amount of fat that's around its kidneys. And during this time of year, you can often pull the kidneys out of a doe and it'll be covered with this white, visceral, healthy fat. And then a buck's will be almost completely bare of any fat, just the kidneys. And it's just a good indication of how much they're running, how little they're eating, and their overall health. They run themselves down a lot during the rut.
I know they lose a lot of weight during the rut for sure.
So
they also don't have to be as bulk in the spring.
True.
As the doe would.
Yeah, that's true. So be flexible, right? It's the rut, as we've mentioned a dozen times, and things are going to change. Does may change. If you identify that there's action happening on another side, another area, another pinch point or a funnel, or somewhere where you didn't anticipate, you need to be willing to adjust later that afternoon. If you're sitting all day or maybe the next day, and don't get too stuck. A lot of us are in the habit of setting up a couple stands, and that's just where we hunt, and we kind of leave them there. This is a good time of year to be flexible. Use the climber, use the saddle. You use some sort of setup that allows you to move around and adapt to what the whitetail are doing.
Oh, did you go into a saddle yet?
Not yet. I need to.
Do you plan to?
I do. It's just one of those things that's gotten super popular over the last year and a half, and as a result, there's other companies popping up, and more people are trying them. So I'm reading a lot and watching getting people's opinions. I need to just dive in and just do it.
Well, we know people with one that have hit us up and said, "Hey, I hunt in a saddle."
Yeah,
all the time.
Yep, it looks super comfortable, which it doesn't. At first glance, it doesn't seem like it would be comfortable, but I want to try it out.
It just feels like all that tension being on your legs, you know?
It also the idea of just leaning back and sort of hanging on a single rope. I've got to get that kind of freaks me out a little bit, but I don't know. It's weird.
I'd be fine with it, I think.
All right. So be flexible and just hunt. Like, get in the woods. You've got to hunt. It's a numbers game. The more you hunt, the more likely you are to have encounters with deer, the more likely you are to kill a deer. You can't do like we do and find yourselves too busy to go and making excuses not to get out there. You just have to get out there. It's easy to let work and life and everything's kind of consume you, but you're not going to shoot a deer sitting from the couch or on the couch. So
it's just hard.
Just hunt. It is. And the last thing.
Why don't you just hunt?
All the reasons I just listed. And then the last thing is to have a good whiskey on hand, because there's no better way to celebrate than having a good whiskey.
What's a good whiskey?
Whatever you like to drink. All right. So that was my spiel on rut strategies. We could make a video, a 20-minute video on any single one of those topics. So I'm just hitting the high notes here. Take it, leave it. I don't care. That's what's worked for me in the past. That's what the pros suggest. That's what all my research pointed to. I tried to pick the things that I know worked for me and that other people also selected or mentioned. There's some other stuff that people listed that I'm like, this shit doesn't work down here. So I didn't put it in there.
I feel like there's a lot of things that work other places that
for sure
definitely aren't going to work down here.
Absolutely.
So that's the other thing to know too, is if you're, that's good for both ways. If you're looking at whiskey strategies or whitetail strategies, it's going to change by area. Some places don't have other things, and therefore the deer are going to act differently. The liquor store is going to act differently. Liquor store owner. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff that I read about deer, and they're just talking about these huge monster deer out west and stuff, and it's just not the case down here in the south.
And also, certain land features that people talk about, focus on these and that, and focus on this sort of geographical feature. And you just have to find what works and what's available for where you're hunting. Because sometimes they're, hunting a ridge. Well, what's a ridge for me or us down here is different than what's a ridge for somebody out in Kentucky.
Yeah, a ridge here for us is an old home site where it's like a 1.5 foot elevation over what's normally flat.
Exactly.
Yeah, or one of those levee walls.
Yeah, right. That's a good segue to talk. Wanted to talk a little bit about scrape behavior and whitetail behavior related to scrapes. So I mentioned earlier that bucks will use the licking branches above a scrape far more often. And so what is a scrape? If you've never seen one, if you're not a hunter, you're not familiar, it's basically like a communication hub or a public bulletin board that whitetail use to drop some of their scent, leave some of their scent, and let folks know that, hey,
and
I'm here.
Several different ways they do it too. I'm sure you've been walking through the woods and you look at the ground and the leaves are all pushed away, and you're like, it looks like somebody swept an area to sit down.
Yep. And then the scrape is done by both does and bucks. The difference is that bucks will, like I said, use the licking branch the same way. No. They paw the scrape at the ground, but then the bucks will chew and rub their face and their antlers on the licking branch above it. That's why I was mentioning, if you're targeting bucks during the rut, look for active scrapes that have that overhanging branch, because they don't always have an overhanging branch.
Right, yeah.
If there's no overhanging branch, there's a good chance that a buck's not using it. So the reason they do that is because bucks have glands in or near their nose, on their forehead, and around their eyes. Can you grab that picture right there?
Yeah.
We've all thought this is the second one, the first one right in front. Yep. We've all thought this was just a cute picture of two young deer.
Right.
But I actually, after reading some of the stuff about the preorbital gland, I think that what he's doing as a young buck is just recognizing, there's scent up here, and he's sniffing around that preorbital gland that deer have around their eyes. And so you'll see videos sometimes online of a deer chewing on the branch, or even it looks like they're trying to poke themselves in the eye with
Dogphoto.com.
with the branch, and that's just them spreading that scent around. So that's the chief way that whitetails leave scent is using, like I said, using these rubs. There's 3 different kinds of rubs. You have boundary rubs, secondary rubs, and primary rubs. Now, boundary rubs are ones that you're going to find along fence lines, around ag fields, things like that. They're the ones that you see walking along some of the roads where we like to hunt. You'll see them along, and there's oftentimes not necessarily a licking branch or an overhang, because deer are just using that to, like, paw out a little bit. They'll pee on it to spread their scent. They have glands on their dorsal. Is that what their
dorsal fin?
Dorsal fin. Yeah, their dorsal fins.
Got them.
They're what are the name of the glands?
I can't remember the
because you had to deal with them all the time.
The name of the toe, yeah. Because if you cut them, they stink.
Yeah, they stink. What they do is they actually the bucks will scoot their legs together till those things are touching, and they'll pee right over them.
Yeah,
and so you get they spin and spread their scent from the urine and those glands, and that's how they will work areas. Secondary scrapes are sort of something you can sort of identify by them being very random. You won't see a pattern. You won't see a line of them. They're just sort of there. And that's generally believed that deer are they just get the urge, right? And they just need to.
I need to scrape
something. They just need to scrape that shit up. And then it's the primary ones are the ones you want to look for with primary scrapes. These are the ones that are along ridge lines, well-worn paths, between bedding and feeding areas. You're going to see a trail of them potentially. Those are the ones that you want to hunt if you're hunting scrapes. They'll be more active. You should see overhanging branches and licking branches. And so those are some ways you can target bucks utilizing scrapes and the behavior that whitetail will exhibit when making a scrape. They usually work a scrape for about a minute, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. And they use scrapes year round.
Yeah.
It's all year. However, bucks, their prime time, their most activity, especially when they're utilizing the licking branch, is about 30 days leading up to peak breeding and about 10 days after. So you should see a lot of it this time of the year with the rut going on.
That's a good way to judge the rut, because you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I saw a buck chasing."
Yeah.
When in reality, there's other signs that are more prominent, I guess.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can, if you know what to look for, you can identify all kinds of things out in the woods to give you an idea of just how things are going. You also have to be cognizant of the fact that certain parts of the year certain parts of the country have a rut that happens earlier in the year, and then they have their does that come into a breeding later, and so there's actually a second rut in certain parts of the country, and you'll have certain states like Louisiana and some of the other ones that have a whitetail season that goes into like January or February, I think.
They talk about that here too, that we have a second rut in December or something.
Yeah. December. It's usually early December. I've never had any luck.
No.
Early December. Mid-November, mid to late November, and then late December is when I have the most luck. It's also when I just have more time to hunt, I think, because it's around holidays, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, and we talked about that today, that the success rate of our friends that do very well, it's not luck, it's the fact that they're
putting in work.
Yeah, they can get out there a lot more than we can.
Yeah, they put in the work and put in the time, and when you do that, things are bound to happen.
Maybe someday we'll have hunting property in our backyard, and it won't be so hard to get out there.
Foreshadowing. You have to speak it into existence. Right? Manifest. You have to manifest it.
Manifest destiny?
Manifest destiny.
Is that, can you say manifest? I feel like manifest destiny has a negative connotation now.
Why?
I don't know. I thought I read that somewhere, which I thought was ridiculous because I like that word.
Manifest.
Those 2 words together.
The 2 words together. Manifest destiny. Yeah, it's 2 words. For sure.
Yeah, I'll Google it and find out what that means.
I think it just means you manifest your destiny.
I think it was used once in a time in history that people don't agree with, and therefore if you say it, that means you agree with that time in history. I think that's kind of what I'm remembering.
Like Hitler?
I don't know.
Stalin?
Oh. No, never mind. Oh. I had another question.
Ask her.
I'm going to pass.
Okay.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to ask, though.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I might ask you after because it's a good question.
Oh, now I'm interested.
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, sick. So we went over the rut stuff, and then surely you have more recommendations for the current state of affairs. I don't need to flip my page. I was trying to be like you.
I don't know.
This is what I wrote down while you were talking. I wrote down the rut, and then I wrote down buck bomb, and then I wrote down keyword placement rut.
That's good. Those are good notes, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would recommend that also. Use buck bombs.
Yeah.
That falls in line with scent. Be careful wherever you're hunting. Make sure you follow your local Department of Natural Resources or Fish and Game or wildlife rules. A lot of them have put new laws in place with regard to CWD and trying to control that, where you're not allowed to use a lot of the scents that are derived from natural deer urine. So you have to use synthetics. That happened here in South Carolina a year before last or last year. So beware of that. If you have old stuff that's still like in your bag or in your tote, you got to throw that stuff out if you get caught using it. That's a big no-no.
And most states won't let you drive the spine and brain across state lines. Keep that in mind if you're hunting out of state. Definitely can't do it here. I think I think almost all states that's a rule now.
Yeah, it's pretty much across the board. I just got done actually talking about that with Gavin's troop for scouts. I taught the Fish and Wildlife Management Merit Badge, and we talked about.
Oh, did you? You would be the guy to teach that.
It's fun. I enjoy that one a lot. We talk about invasive species and impacts to environment as humans and how we can do our part to prevent some of that stuff. It's good stuff.
You know, we're in Kentucky. You know those things that stick to you.
Yes, those are a very good example.
I was sitting in my tree stand and I looked down at my glove here in South Carolina, and there was one on my glove, and I was like, ugh, and I flicked it off, and then I thought, I just ruined the entire Southeast.
Done. 5 years from now, there's going to be a takeover from South Carolina all the way to mid Florida, and it's going to be all your fault.
Well, think about all those vines and stuff that had taken over the majority of all of the parts of Kentucky we were at. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, actually. I don't know what the name of it is either, but it's wild.
But it's like wherever that thing grows, there's an animal there that eats that, and they didn't know that, so they brought it there for vegetation to kind of keep erosion.
Yep.
And whatever animal was eating it where it's from wasn't eating it in Kentucky.
Here.
And now
it's Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how many times that's happened. I wonder how many plants we have that we look at and go.
There's tons. If you can, there's lists of invasive species and things that don't belong where they are. There are tons of them.
Like what?
Well, there's one really bad right now, which is the snakehead. It's a fish.
Oh yeah, I am aware of the snakehead.
That one's really bad. I mean, bad enough that like the DNR's like, if you catch one of these, here's a picture, kill it.
They actually said that here.
Yeah, because
if you see them here, kill them, because they were coming up from Florida, right?
No, from Georgia, down from Georgia, because they started up in Missouri or somewhere. I think I forget where they came from exactly. But they're making their way down like the Mississippi, and it's nasty. Like they kill off other. They eat whole, like during hatching, they eat eggs and they kill. They're just really nasty.
So it's the one thing Florida didn't ruin.
I think. I don't know. Maybe.
Florida ruins a lot of stuff. But I also I heard they're calling it the land of the free now.
I told Jessica, I sent her a video the other day after their governor released a video, and I said, I never been much of a fan of Florida, but 5's not far.
No, it's not. It's only 6 hours.
It's a straight shot.
So the rut stuff, we did the Heaven Hill stuff. We don't have a whole lot of updates for the company. This is the week of Veterans Day, so this week we will be at Cigars on Maybank.
Yep.
I don't know, my brain doesn't.
Cigars on Maybank. Pizza.
We'll be at Cigars on Maybank. Zeppelin Pizza will be supplying the pizza. There will be a donation box for WLS per usual. And then we are supplying the cigars through Simply Smoked, Simply Stogies.
Yep.
We're going to film all of it, get some pictures out, and then make all of our cigar content that we have coming and some talkovers on it.
Yep.
Outside of that, there's not a whole lot going on. Orders are picking up. I do have a FYI for the orders. The price increases have happened already for shipping. Depending on when you buy from us, the shipping rates haven't changed. Sometimes they may have. We're also probably going to do some kind of free shipping through the last week in November because December 1st it's game on.
Yeah, we need to probably look at orders from last year and start to keep an eye on shipping and have a cutoff date that we can start pumping out to make sure if you want something by Christmas, you need to have it ordered by said date. We need to figure out what that is and share it with folks.
We ship within 24 hours always. However, we'll let you know and this isn't just for buying from us, just from your Christmas shopping. We'll start letting you know when things are taking a day. Look, because I noticed last year it was like you could put it in at the post office and it would scan as delivered. And this is when we started getting hate mail because people were like, it just shows you dropped it off. It's not shipped. And it's like, well,
that's all we can do.
Anybody with a brain should realize dropped off means it's out of my hands.
Yeah, I've brought it to the place who's going to get it to you. That's all we can. That's honestly all we can do. Once we drop it off to the United States Postal Service,
or whoever we're shipping
whoever we're shipping with, depending on what you choose to pay for. That's it. That's all we can do.
But they have these huge baskets that they put stuff in. So as those start to back up, it just gets worse, and so the trucks can only move, and it's going to be even worse this year.
Yeah, because you know what I just thought of is how many postal workers are going to choose not to meet that November 8th or December 8th deadlines, and the truck drivers.
There are more truck drivers choosing to not get the vaccine than there are probably any other. I mean, I wouldn't. Don't factor this.
Order now, folks.
Christmas is going to be a mess. It's going to be a huge mess.
It's going to be wild.
I'm going to go ahead and say if you don't have your whatever you're buying for Christmas, if not just from us, just period. If you don't have your order in by December 8th, let's see what that Friday is. And this is coming from people that spent
I give yourself a 3-week.
December 7th. If you don't, December 7th is a Friday. If you don't have your Christmas stuff ordered by December 7th,
that's January.
Jesus.
There you go.
December 10th. If you don't have it ordered by December 10th, because if you order December 11th, 12th, you're not going to be backed up through the 13th. They won't ship till the 14th.
Yeah, no later than the 10th. Give yourself 2 weeks.
And it won't even get out till that Monday, and it will not be there by Christmas. So, yeah, December 10th, whatever you're buying, unless it's like Amazon and they promise 24-hour delivery. But I can tell you just from Etsy, all the stuff that we're involved in, that's how long it's going to start taking. It'll take every bit of 2 weeks or 10 working days. So make sure you do that.
All right.
What else? We had the giveaway. So we are gonna do what?
Oh yeah. Nothing. I said, oh yeah.
Oh, you gotta go.
Yeah, I do.
We'll do this real quick. The giveaway is we believe I've ordered one to experiment, but the giveaway we're gonna do a cocktail kit, like a roll up, real nice cocktail kit that we'll throw a smoker block in, and we're gonna either do one a week in December or.
Should we start Black Friday so that we're not finishing it the week of the week of Christmas?
Yeah, we might.
Someone hoping to get it as a present.
Yeah, we might.
Just a thought.
We're gonna do it there, and then we're gonna hide it in episodes. You won't be able to find it unless you're a Patreon member. I'm gonna give you a tip. So Patreon gets a heads up start. The kits are $100, and then we're probably gonna put $80 worth of stuff in it. So. Yeah. So it's going to be almost $200 price back each time. And I think that's all we got. Gus got to go. I got to go film some stuff tonight for a client. Thanks for joining. Well, hold on. Say bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming
Signing off.
Yeah.
This evening.
Thank you for joining us this week on Whiskey and Whitetail Family News. We'll catch you next week for another bright-eyed, bushy-tailed episode about whiskey and whitetails.
Keep sipping and quit bitching.
Hit the button.